World Order by Henry Kissinger is a comprehensive analysis of global politics, examining the historical foundations of international relations and the current challenges to global stability. Kissinger, a former U.S. Secretary of State and seasoned diplomat, delves into the complex evolution of global power dynamics and offers insights into maintaining a stable world order amidst ideological conflicts, rising nationalism, and shifting alliances. He draws on historical events, philosophical insights, and his diplomatic experience to propose strategies for achieving a cooperative and balanced international system. Imagine a global chessboard, where every nation, ideology, and alliance affects the balance of power. In World Order, Kissinger argues that the current international system, shaped primarily by Western ideals, is being challenged by divergent worldviews and emerging powers. From Europe's Westphalian principles of state sovereignty to the geopolitical ambitions of modern China, Russia, and the Islamic world, Kissinger explores how diverse ideologies and interests have historically shaped world order. He advocates for a pragmatic, balanced approach to diplomacy and emphasizes the importance of mutual respect and collaboration among nations to address today's complex issues. The essence, 80/20, the Westphalian system and the concept of state sovereignty. Kissinger traces the origins of the modern international order to the Peace of Westphalia in 1648, which introduced the principles of state sovereignty, territorial integrity, and non-interference. This system, rooted in European history, established a framework where states were recognized as autonomous entities. While it created stability within Europe, applying the Westphalian model to other regions has been challenging, as not all cultures share the same view of state sovereignty or individualism. The clash of civilizations and ideologies. Kissinger examines the tensions between Western ideals and the values of rising global powers. For instance, China's historical focus on cultural unity and central authority contrasts sharply with Western notions of individual rights and democracy. Similarly, the Islamic world's emphasis on religious governance sometimes conflicts with secular Westphalian principles. Kissinger warns that these ideological differences can lead to misunderstandings and friction, urging nations to find common ground rather than imposing one system on others. The United States as a world leader. Kissinger discusses the unique role of the United States in shaping world order, especially since World War II. The US has promoted a vision of democracy, human rights, and free markets, which has both stabilized and disrupted global relations. While America's commitment to these ideals has often fostered global cooperation, Kissinger argues that it can also lead to interventions that challenge state sovereignty, creating backlash. He suggests that the US should pursue a more restrained, pragmatic foreign policy that respects the diversity of global political systems. Emerging powers and the challenge to Western dominance. Kissinger explores how rising powers, especially China and Russia, are challenging the Western-led order. China's Belt and Road Initiative, for example, reflects its ambition to reshape global economic networks, while Russia's assertive actions in Ukraine and the Middle East signal its desire to reassert influence. Kissinger argues that these powers seek recognition and respect for their systems and interests, which could lead to either cooperation or conflict with the West depending on diplomatic approaches. The importance of diplomacy, balance, and realism. Throughout the book, Kissinger emphasizes the need for a balanced and realistic approach to international relations. He advocates for diplomacy based on mutual respect and the recognition of diverse worldviews. Kissinger suggests that states should avoid ideological rigidity and instead focus on pragmatic solutions to common challenges, such as terrorism, nuclear proliferation, and economic instability. He believes that a stable world order requires leaders who understand history, practice restraint, and are willing to compromise. The action plan promotes multilateral diplomacy and respect for sovereignty. Drawing from the Westphalian principles, Kissinger's work suggests that international stability requires respect for state sovereignty and multilateral diplomacy. Nations should work through international organizations, such as the United Nations, to address global issues collaboratively rather than unilaterally imposing solutions. This approach fosters a respectful global environment and builds cooperative frameworks. Acknowledge and respect cultural and ideological diversity. Kissinger emphasizes the importance of understanding the unique cultural and political backgrounds of each nation. Approach international relations with sensitivity to cultural differences, refraining from assuming that one model of governance fits all. Embracing a multipolar perspective fosters understanding and reduces conflict between ideological systems. Adopt a pragmatic foreign policy rather than relying solely on ideological goals. Kissinger advises a pragmatic approach focused on stability and compromise. He suggests that nations, especially the US, adopt realistic foreign policies that prioritize peace and collaboration. This involves negotiating to find common interests and minimizing interventions that could provoke resentment or disrupt regional stability. Engage with emerging powers on equal terms. Kissinger warns against dismissing the ambitions of rising powers like China and Russia. Instead, he suggests that Western powers engage these nations with respect and openness. Building constructive relationships based on mutual recognition can foster cooperation on global issues rather than fueling rivalry and conflict. Encourage leaders to understand history and practice restraint. Kissinger believes that leaders must have a deep understanding of history and the complexities of power dynamics. Future leaders should cultivate knowledge of diplomatic history and appreciate the consequences of intervention. By practicing restraint and prioritizing diplomacy, leaders can make informed, balanced decisions that support long-term stability. Blind spot. While Kissinger provides a nuanced understanding of global politics, his approach may seem overly pragmatic or conservative to some readers. His emphasis on stability and balance could overlook the importance of promoting human rights and democratic principles in areas where they are lacking. Critics may argue that Kissinger's realpolitik approach favors the status quo and downplays the moral imperatives that drive some nations' foreign policies. Connected knowledge for readers interested in exploring similar themes. The Tragedy of Great Power Politics by John Mearsheimer provides an analysis of power dynamics and the inevitability of conflict between states. The Clash of Civilizations and the Remaking of World Order by Samuel P. Huntington delves into the cultural and ideological divisions that shape global relations, complementing Kissinger's insights. Finally, Diplomacy by Henry Kissinger himself offers a more detailed look at historical case studies and his experiences in international relations.